So another thing that's very interesting about you is you've been through all aspects of this. You've been a player getting recruited. You are a mom helping your daughter get recruited and a recruiting coordinator. So how different are those roles? How involved does each role need to be in this whole process?
So I'll start with a player, right? Because they're the ones, this is their experience.
Right.
And a lot of the conversations that I have are directed toward the player. As a recruiting coordinator, I always tell the parents, they're like, hey, can we meet with you? And I'm like, I want to make sure that your daughter's in that meeting as well.
Right.
This is her experience. And as much as we want to help them achieve their goals, they have to be the ones that buy into the process, right? So it's got to be their experience, what they want out of a college, not what mom and dad wants out of a college.
Big difference.
Big difference. So it's like they might want that small school feel. And a lot of times in a small school feel, it's not a full scholarship. It's a package deal between maybe athletic and academic.
Right.
So sitting down with a student and then telling them and encouraging them, you have to pick up the phone and call coach. You have to send the emails. Early in the process, the parent can send the emails, and I highly recommend they sign it from their daughter.
Yeah.
But they can be more active. I understand that they have a lot more time than a lot of the young kids these days that are involved in so many things. Sending out those initial emails, the parents can be involved and they can help with that process. But when it comes down to the actual, we're having conversations with the coaches and we're trying to get to know them, the player has to be the one really being proactive in that.
Taking the initiative.
They're the ones who have to make the phone call because the coach is recruiting them. Mm-hmm. The parent is an extension, and they're going to probably ask questions about their mom and dad, and they'll want to eventually talk to the parents. But it's really having the coach get to know you as a player, because you're the one that's going to be on the court and on the team, and you're dynamic. They're going to get to know your personality, and you want to be active in that. You don't want to wait for that coach to call you when you're junior. Yep. You want to take that active role even as early as your sophomore year.
With how competitive it is now, you really do have to take that initiative as a player.
Exactly.
Definitely. And then as a parent, speak on that role. What do you do as a parent?
So as a parent, like I said, sending out the initial emails is good, and guiding your daughter, being a support for your daughter and encouraging your daughters. Mm-hmm. You don't want to be that parent that goes up to the coach and is pushy and introduce yourself and says, hey, I'm so-and-so's mom. I really want my daughter to come play for you.
Yep, don't want to scare them off early.
You don't want to play that role. As much as you might think that enduring personality is going to affect that coach, you want to try and take a backseat as a parent. Mm-hmm. It's really about mentoring and helping your daughter through the process. So it's really a support system. If you have the means to provide opportunities for her to visit schools, that's a great way to be involved. Once you get on campus, let your daughter do the talk. Mm-hmm. Let this be about her experience, and you're just her cheerleader. Exactly. And if you can kind of take that role as a parent, is that you're just the support system, just a cheerleader, because it is she that's going to be playing for that coach, and it's going to be her experience on campus. Does she like that school? Right. It's about her experience. Mm-hmm. And then as a recruiting coordinator, I do a lot of education with the parents and the players in this very setting, where I say, you know what, it's your daughter's experience. She's the one that's got to take the lead, and you can be that support role. Where I really help out is if they get narrowed down to 5 to 10 schools and they say, Coach, could you call on my behalf and tell them what I'm about? Absolutely. That's when I can pick up the phone and say, hey, I know that Susie is looking at your school and you've been starting the recruiting process with them. Let me talk to you on Katie's behalf, or on Susie's behalf, on what she has to offer to your program. And the thing that I'm very honest with the college coaches. One, I was a college coach, and I know how important it is, and their jobs are on the line, that I can't give them a kid that's not going to be everything I say they're going to be. Right. So when it comes down to personalities and things like that, I keep it very real for them and say, you know what, she's a great passer, great libero, but she doesn't communicate very much on the court, because I want them to understand what they're getting. Right. I don't want to jeopardize my reputation for that kid either, because I do this for everybody. And it's really important for the coaches to know and trust me that when I tell them how it is really how it is.
Definitely. And I mean, it's a scary process on both ends. It's a gamble in the beginning when you don't know things. So to have somebody, where they're not talking to the family or the parent or the player, they know it's a third party. They're going to get an honest opinion. Everyone's going to sell themselves great, right? Right. But when they sit and talk to someone like you, they really feel like they're having a real and honest, genuine conversation. And I'm sure the player feels that trust from you, and the coaches, the college college coaches.
Right.
That's
And
really
sometimes
nice.
you have to have those hard conversations. And I have those with the kids as well. And like, this is where your deficit is. You know, this is what's keeping you from you being their number one pick. This is the area that you really need to try and improve in, because this is what they're looking at. And I say the same thing to the college coaches as well. You know, I've had this conversation. I've told them this is what you're looking at.
Yep.
You know, let's use communication for an example, because we see the trend of kids communicating less these days with technology. Everything is done with their thumbs, and they have to learn the art of communicating. And that's a really great skill that parents can help articulate or help teach them.
Right.
But just understanding how important that communication piece is on the court, and coaches need that for their team to be successful, is that if you're not willing to step out of your comfort zone and learn that skill,
They don't want that.
They don't want that.
Right.
It's going to be hard for you to get recruited.
Right. That's great that, you know, you can play that role to help, because I think in recruiting, a lot of people don't know where they stand, and to have all cards on the table and to just the college coaches know the real situation, the players know where they stand. It's better to be in that situation than to go somewhere where it's just not a good fit.
Right.
Because you overpromised something, they overpromised. Everybody was kind of playing this game where the truth wasn't there. And that's awesome that as a recruiting coordinator, you can help bridge that gap. It's great.